Today I will be showing you two famous Paris monuments with a great view and an interesting history. So we'll go inside l'Arc de Triomphe and le Panthéon. And I will give you some tips. Bonjour, my name is Blandine and I am a big fan of Paris, and for 80% of my life I've lived in or around Paris. So let's start with l'Arc de Triomphe, which is as much famous as the Eiffel Tower, and for good reasons. It sits amidst la Place du Général de Gaulle, also known as la Place de l'Étoile, meaning the Star Square. There are 12 avenues starting from the roundabout, drawing a star with numerous branches. The rooftop of l'Arc de Triomphe will give you an astonishing 360-degree view of Paris, and you will reach the top by going up the stairs. If need be, you can go through elevator though. So, to get there, you have to cross la Place du Général de Gaulle, going underground in a tunnel. And you can find the entrance of the tunnel at the top of les Champs-Élysées, on the right-hand side walk. As odd as it may seem, the entrance, the paying entrance, is at the bottom of the tunnel. But should you be on a budget, you can still visit the Arc de Triomphe from underneath for free. You won't be able to go in the stairs at the rooftop, but you can see it from underneath, which is very fun. L'Arc de Triomphe is the symbol of Paris and of the unity of the French nation. This monument has adapted to a succession of the country's major events, and here on the ground you will find memorial inscriptions. It's a place where generals and soldiers of the empire and the revolution are commemorated, but there are also commemorations for more recent important events. And there is another very important symbol here that we know as la flamme du soldat inconnu, which is the flame of the unknown soldier, and it symbolizes the memory to all soldiers who died for the country, especially those of World War I. This flame is rekindled every evening at 6:30 p.m. As for the symbols, you will recognize la Marseillaise on the facade facing les Champs-Élysées, the face of freedom and revolt. And you will also find the symbolic cockerel right next to it. So, it will be a total of 284 steps, and the first 202 steps staircase is very narrow, with no windows, no breaks, and no view neither up or down. It really feels as if you are in a lighthouse in Brittany. The second staircase is quicker and leads from the entresol to the museum mezzanine, and a small third staircase will take you from the museum to the terrace. So there you have it, you are at 50 meters height from the bottom and you have a magnificent view of Paris. You will see the line from the skyscrapers of La Défense district on one end until the Louvre on the other hand. The modern arch, l'Arche de la Défense, in the business district, aligns with l'Arc de Triomphe and l'Arc du Carrousel at the Louvre. It's rare to be able to enter a Roman-style arch. The plans for l'Arc de Triomphe were inspired by the plans for the Arch of Titus in Rome. I don't know for you, but it's the only arch I've been in. The museum is not rich in itself, but you will discover that les Champs-Élysées has been a chic walking area since the 19th century. You will find here a historical slideshow on a giant screen, and it's highly educational. You will understand about 200 years of French history in a few minutes. Quite a feat. As per the store, it's very interesting, and personally I could buy tons of fun stuff here. Now let me give you a little bit of historical background here. L'Arc de Triomphe took 30 years to be built, break included. So the work began in 1806 and it was ended in 1836. Until then, this area was only gardens on a hill. Then, in 1805, Napoleon decided to build an arch dedicated to his great army. This decision was taken following the Austerlitz battle win of 1805. So various projects were studied there, including the most improbable one, which is building a monument in the shape of an elephant. Now, l'ironie de l'histoire, as we would say it, the irony of the history, the fun fact, is that Napoleon has almost no street or avenue or squares named after him in Paris or anywhere. In Paris you just have Rue Bonaparte, which is a small street, whereas Charles de Gaulle has tons of avenues in every city of the country and has the biggest square in Paris, la Place de l'Étoile, la Place Charles de Gaulle, and an airport. So, let me point out that Napoleon was a conqueror fighting to extend the borders, and he has no street, whereas Charles de Gaulle was a saver and has many avenues. Charles de Gaulle is a statesman who called on the French people to resist Hitler on June 18, 1940, on the BBC from London. So let's go back to l'Arc de Triomphe. Its building was hectic as the political life was hectic back then. In 1815, work was halted with Napoleon's abdication. Then in 1823, Louis XVIII resumed construction, modifying the monument and dedicating it to his monarchy. Finally, under Louis Philippe, the monument was completed and dedicated as originally planned to the armies of the empire as well as those of the revolution. So, l'Arc de Triomphe is a place dedicated to celebrate victories as a country, and here in Paris there is another monument also dedicated to famous French personality, and this is le Panthéon. But before jumping to the Panthéon, I would like to give you some tips here after the Arc de Triomphe visit. If you are on a budget, you can go down les Champs-Élysées until you get Monoprix. At Monoprix you can get a picnic, and then you can go on a picnic on the Champs-Élysées gardens down the road. Should you want to have lunch in a restaurant, it's very easy to find a restaurant on les Champs-Élysées, and there are 3 of them that I like. One because the view is incredible, but it's not cheap, it's Moon. The other one because it's Asian affordable food and the decor is fun. And the third one is La Durée because of pastries. And there is a bonus one, it's the coffee shop Café Joyeux because their coffee is delicious and they do a great job there. And Café Joyeux means joyful coffee. Also, there are 2 fun facts with 2 stores in les Champs-Élysées. One is the Monoprix I just talked about because at the bottom of it, at the basement of it, you have a bank vault. It comes from a New York bank. It's the first national bank vault dating from the early 1930s. I have no clue what it's doing there, but it's interesting to see when you go down the basement at Monoprix. And the other one is Guerlain because the store is beautiful and you will find there makeup boxes dating from 1830 displayed in a museum style on the first floor of the Guerlain stores at number 68. So it's 2 kilometers from l'Arc de Triomphe to the Place de la Concorde. It's about 30-minute walk, and les Champs-Élysées are almost in 2 equal parts, from l'Arc de Triomphe to the roundabout, le rond-point des Champs-Élysées, and there you have restaurants and stores, and from le rond-point des Champs-Élysées, roundabout, to la Place de la Concorde, where you have the gardens. Now, let's talk about le Panthéon. It's an interesting history as it was conceived to be a church, but it turned to be a place where our most famous personalities are buried. It's located in le Quartier Latin, the heart of the Quartier Latin, the Latin neighborhood. It's the student district where you have the Sorbonne University. And this monument puts you in the heart of the French Republic. Bonus point, you get a magnificent view of Paris. So, at the time of its creation, the Panthéon was an imposing basilica called Église Sainte-Geneviève, and its architect, Soufflot, wanted to rival the Panthéon in Rome. So, creativity is stealing from other people's creativity. Still like an artist, as Austin Kleon puts it very clearly. In 1791, following Mirabeau's death, the basilica was transformed into a secular temple dedicated to the glory of great men, and the pediment bears the inscription Aux grands hommes la patrie reconnaissante, meaning to great men the grateful nation. and the National Assembly transformed the Basilica into the French Panthéon. As a reminder, the French Revolution happened in July 1789, and the creation of the First French Republic dates back to September 1792. So there, in the Panthéon, in the year that followed, Republican decorations replaced religious or royal ones. Windows were obstructed and the place became more austere. The building twice became a church again before finally becoming a Republican building in 1885 at the time of Victor Hugo, the famous writer's funeral. You remember Victor Hugo is the writer of Notre Dame, who saved Notre Dame. The sculpture of the National Convention, Vivre libre ou mourir, Live free or die, dates from 1924 and features Marianne. Republican values are strongly shown there. In Le Panthéon, what's interesting is that you will also find a pendule de Foucault, Foucault's pendulum, and it provides proof of the Earth's rotation. There are two in Paris, another one is at le Musée des Arts et Métiers. So the pendulum is a 67 meters long wire from the top of the dome, and it moves a 20 centimeter sphere covered in 24 karat gold. Inside the Panthéon, the walls feature illustrations of France's Christian heroes or the life of Saint Geneviève. You will also discover modern art with Ansel Kiefer's large-scale showcases in tribute to the deaths of the World War. Then, in the basement, the crypt is a place of remembrance with a meditative atmosphere, and all great names together make a very big impression. First of all, you'll find the Age of Enlightenment with Voltaire and Rousseau writers, great defenders of tolerance for one and equality for the other. The rotunda then leads to the dignitaries of the empire, the great writers, the figures of equality, the great voices of democracy, the great names of the resistance. By resistance, we refer to World War II resistance. Then you can go up, and the view over Paris here at the Panthéon is magnificent. The stairs are not necessarily very comfortable. Avoid them if you are a little bit claustrophobic, but the view is very gorgeous. A small portion of the climb is on stairs outdoor, which is really fun because it feels like if you're walking on the rooftops. And then you get a 360 view of Paris going around the balcony. La Place du Panthéon is a very cheerful place. You are in the heart of the Quartier Latin. So here you are at the heart of the history of Paris, when Paris was back then Lutetia in the Gallo-Roman times. To give you a little bit of history, around 507, Clovis, king of the Franks, vowed to build a basilica to house the relics of Saint Geneviève, who had saved Paris from the invasion. And the abbey stood on the site of today's Lycée Henri IV, just behind Le Panthéon. So you can see two bell towers remaining from the medieval times. And the Panthéon was built between 1755 and 1790 at the request of Louis XV. Soufflot, the architect, encountered considerable controversy over the building's solidity and experimented with the use of metal in architecture, a technique that would be widely adopted in the following century. When it was built, the Panthéon was flooded with light through 45 large windows, which were blocked up later on. Just next to the Panthéon, you have a humongous library, la Bibliothèque Sainte-Geneviève. But in this area, you will also find la Sorbonne Law School, l'École Normale Supérieure on Rue d'Ulm with many researchers there, as well as numerous research centers in physics, mathematics, geology, geography, oceanography, and they all are located here. So this is really an intellectual hub. So in this area you will also find two very interesting little museums, less known, and one is le Musée Curie, where you will discover the beginning of radioactivity. And the second one is le Musée de Minéralogie de l'École des Mines, which sits in an engineer school where students still study engineer here. And it shows tons of incredible stones in an old setting, which is fun. And here is a little fun tip. Just behind Le Panthéon is a little square that was featured in Émilie in Paris. Also, you will find great pastries here, because food is important. And you can go at Yann Couvreur pastry store and try not to buy everything. And then you can go and have a picnic at Le Jardin du Luxembourg, which is a very beautiful garden, and it's called by its nickname Le Louco by very high Parisians. Et voilà, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if it was interesting to you and if you discovered something, I would be thrilled if you would leave a blue thumb up, and why not subscribe. Until next time, thank you for your time, enjoy Paris! I might show you in the next video an incredible exhibition that I just visited about the last king to be a king in France, and that was interesting. So, stay tuned.